those military exercises is a big hullabaloo right now. People who never thought about them are. Senator Rand Paul was weighing in on the whole issue with me on Fox News. Take a look. Should we have volunteered to go ahead and stop these exercises?
Yeah, because that can easily be restarted at any point in time, but it shows goodwill. It's nothing permanent. It's not like giving them money, and I'm not for giving the North Koreans any money. I would offer them the allure of trade with Japan and South Korea and us, and expanded trade with China, and the allure of what trade and commerce brings basically to a country.
All right, so I think that was Rand Paul's way of saying, everyone take a chill pill on the freezing these military exercises. They can be restarted, in a New York minute. Can they, and is it a big deal? Let's ask Defense Priorities Senior Fellow Retired Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis. Colonel, what do you make of what he's saying? Not a huge deal, suspending these exercises for the time being. You say what?
Yeah, he's absolutely correct. This doesn't diminish in one iota our military capability, the power that we can bring to bear, and it doesn't diminish our readiness at all, because nothing's happened to stop our military readiness, our military training within the United States, within the South Korea military training. And we have such a vast scope and experience of institutional knowledge of how to do these things that some temporary suspension won't do anything. And if that actually gives us some chance to continue to move towards a peace outcome, then that's what we should do, because that's in our interest.
You know, I used the good cop, bad cop analogy before, sir, to talk about maybe the president and the role of the good cop or trying to put the best foot forward with the North Koreans, but reminding them maybe through his Secretary of State that there's a tough counter to this on Michael Pompeo saying that the North Koreans must make and take nuclear disarmament steps by the end of the president's first term, going on to say that there will be in-depth verification and it will be fast. What did you make of both of those comments?
Yeah, the president's most sacred duty is the defense of the United States and our security, and he does that by continuing to deter North Korea and to always make sure that we have the ability to respond to anything, and that means avoiding war, because that would be the worst outcome for us possible, and it's not necessary. Because I think that's one of the reasons why Trump is using this whole good cop, bad cop thing, to your point, is because he knows that he can afford to walk at any time. And we already have some precedents with suspending drills and getting something out of it when we did that to delay the drills for the Olympics. And that resulted in some positive things. But if anybody thinks that Trump's going to be played, I think he should already have put that to rest, because when they made a big squawk, last month about some drills we were doing, he said his response was, OK, then there's not going to be a summit. And they changed their tune pretty quick. So President Trump doesn't give anything away for free. And we can expect, as Pompeo said, that there's going to be some kind of response from them that they're going to have to give as well.
You know, Colonel, what's weird about this, and this is not to disparage the president, it is what it is. We can't pick and choose the leaders with whom we meet. I know you and I have chatted on that. This is the guy we're meeting with. But it does seem that you can be rewarded for bad behavior on the global stage if you promise to clean up your act. And all these other countries that try to do the right thing, the good thing, they look at what's going on saying, wow, these guys are going to get potentially billions of dollars in aid, be blacklisted. And this guy's murdering his family members, starving his people. And he's going to make out okay.
Well, I'm not sure that I would say he's going to make out okay, because they're on the cusp of collapsing as a regime, and certainly economically, which is one of the reasons why he's pushing for this.
I know this is going to change that prospect, right? And then again, for all the right reasons, but for all the sort of wrong kind of reasons too, right?
Well, but the bottom line is that the president has to deal with what he's got, and his overriding concern is to defend our interest. And I think he has to deal with whatever he has, and I think, so far it looks like he's on the right path for that. You know,
Colonel, another thing, as looking at the economic nerd here at Fox, one of the things I discovered is China, one of the biggest benefactors for North Korea. They don't have to fork over any dough to help the North Koreans. They don't have to fork over any business investment. They don't have to do anything that would get any skin off their hide. It's on us. It's up to us. Now, maybe that will change, and what we're building into this are incentives to get businesses to come in, work at, building opportunities in North Korea. But the Chinese, who really back this crazy nutcase, they have nothing to worry about.
Well, and just the hard fact is that every nation is going to do what it can to look out for its own national interest, and Russia is just as much in that as what you're talking about here. But if the cause of all that is a deeper security for the United States, I think that's a price that we may have to pay, because our security is what matters more than all that.
Yeah, and I think to your point, a lot of people say you shouldn't have been talking to the North Korean leader. I mean, he's the only one we have, the only one that the president could talk to for the time being, and no one second-guessed FDR when he was talking to Stalin. Of course, Stalin was a partner in the fight against Adolf Hitler here. Very different, I know, but we're not in the game of picking and choosing leaders of other countries.
Well,
right?
but even at that time, as you pointed out there, I mean, he was a murderous person at that time, but that was in the interest of America, and we have to do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right. Colonel, thank you very much. Always good seeing you.
Always my pleasure. Thank you.